Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so grateful you have joined me today. And I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. Life has a way of teaching lessons that no words can fully express. A woman may walk away from you thinking she is making the right decision, believing that her journey requires her to leave. She may have convinced herself that she would find better, that she needed space, or that you were not what she truly wanted. But time is a teacher and reality is an unshakable force. When a woman walks away, she carries with her the weight of her own choices. At first, she may feel relieved, free, and confident in her decision. But as days turn to weeks and weeks turn to months, something begins to shift. She reflects on the moments she took for granted, the kindness, the patience, the presence of a man who truly cared. She starts to realize that what she left behind wasn't just a person, but a foundation, a safe place, a love that was genuine. Emotions are unpredictable. What seemed like a final decision can become an open wound. She may try to replace what she had with someone else, seeking validation, excitement, or a new beginning. But not all beginnings lead to better endings. She may find out that what she was chasing was an illusion, a temporary escape that only made her appreciate what she lost. Memories have a voice. They whisper to the heart when silence surrounds her. The laughter, the deep conversations, the way you made her feel these things cannot be replicated easily. A woman who once walked away starts to see that you were not just another man. You were the man who stood by her, who saw her worth before she even saw it herself. Regret is powerful. It opens the eyes to mistakes, to moments that could have been different. A woman who hurt you may come back, not because she is weak, but because she has grown. She now understands what she didn't before. She realizes that love is not just about feelings, but about commitment, about endurance, about choosing to stand by someone even when emotions fade and life gets difficult. But the real question is, when she comes back, will you still be the same man? Growth is not just for her, it is for you as well. You must ask yourself, have you evolved? Have you learned? Have you become stronger, wiser, more discerning? Because if she left and you remain the same, then the cycle may repeat. But if you use that time to refine yourself, to build yourself into the best version of who you were meant to be, then the decision is no longer just hers, it is yours. Sometimes a woman comes back not because she needs you, but because she now sees you. The question is, do you still see her the same way? When a woman walks away, she may initially feel justified in her decision. She might believe she is making the right choice for her happiness, growth, or peace. But emotions are never as simple as they seem in the moment. Time has a way of forcing people to sit with their choices. And in that silence, reflection begins. She starts to revisit conversations, moments of laughter, and the way you made her feel. At first, she may brush these thoughts aside, convincing herself that she made the right move. But the mind does not forget what the heart once cherished. As days pass, she begins to see things differently. The arguments that once seemed unbearable no longer feel as significant. The flaws she focused on become less important, and the qualities she overlooked start to stand out. She recalls how you listened, how you supported her dreams, and how you stood by her when she had nothing but uncertainty in her own life. She begins to question if she truly appreciated the love that was given to her, or if she was too blinded by temporary emotions to see its depth. Reflection is often triggered by contrast. When she steps into new environments, meets new people, or experiences relationships that lack the same level of connection, she starts to recognize what she lost. The comfort she once took for granted now feels like a missing piece. She begins to wonder if the issue was really you, or if it was her own inability to recognize something rare while she had it. The realization grows stronger with time, and what once felt like freedom now carries an unexpected weight. The absence of what was once constant begins to speak louder than the reasons she left. When a deep connection is formed, it does not simply disappear because of distance, time, or even pain. The emotional bond between two people is not something that can be switched off like a light. Even when a woman makes a decision to leave, the attachment does not leave with her. She may believe she has moved on, but the heart holds on to what it has known, what it has shared, and what it has invested in. There are moments when she goes about her day seemingly unaffected, but something triggers a memory, maybe a familiar scent, a song, or a simple phrase she once heard you say. Suddenly she feels a pull she cannot explain, a longing she thought she had buried. She may try to distract herself with new experiences, different people, or an entirely new routine, but emotional attachment does not fade through avoidance. The deeper the connection was, the harder it is to sever. Even if she convinced herself that leaving was the right decision, the subconscious mind does not release emotions so easily. The laughter shared, the comfort of knowing someone understood her, the way you made her feel, seeing these things create invisible ties that do not break with mere separation. She may try to move forward, but every now and then she feels the presence of what was once a part of her life. This unresolved attachment can bring confusion. She wonders why, after hurting you, after deciding to leave, she still feels drawn to you. It is because emotional bonds are not just about time spent together. They are about the meaning that was created within that time. The heart remembers even when the mind tries to forget. Regret is a powerful teacher, one that often comes uninvited and lingers longer than expected. When a woman walks away, she may do so with confidence, believing that she is making the right decision. She may think she will find something better, something new, or something that aligns more with what she wants at that moment. But time has a way of revealing the truth that emotions often hide. As the days pass and the initial excitement fades, she begins to reflect on what she left behind. Regret begins in the smallest of ways. She starts to recall the times you stood by her, the moments when you put her needs above your own, the way you supported her in ways she never truly acknowledged. At first, she may push these thoughts aside, but they return with more weight. She realizes that the love you gave was not something common, that your presence was not just another moment in her life, but a foundation she could always rely on. With regret comes growth. She starts to see her own mistakes, the impatience, the expectation she placed on you without considering your sacrifices. She recognizes that relationships are not about finding someone perfect, but about valuing someone who is willing to grow and build alongside her. She sees now that what she thought was missing was not something external, but something she failed to nurture. Growth forces her to confront herself, to acknowledge that maybe it wasn't you who wasn't enough. Maybe it was her own lack of understanding, her inability to see what truly mattered. The lessons she learns through regret reshape her, making her realize that losing something valuable is often the first step to understanding its true worth. When a woman leaves, she often carries with her an idea of something better. She may believe that there is more excitement elsewhere, more passion, or a love that feels effortless. At first, she is convinced that she made the right decision, that the world has more to offer beyond what she left behind. But comparison is a silent revealer of truth, and reality always finds a way to correct false perceptions. As she moves forward, she begins to experience new people, new conversations, and new dynamics. At first, it feels refreshing, but slowly she starts to notice the differences. The effort, the depth, the connection she once had with you is not as easily found as she once believed. She sees that not every man will be as patient, as understanding, or as consistent. She realizes that the comfort she once had with you was not something that happens with just anyone. It was built, nurtured, and developed over time. Comparison forces her to reflect on the reality of what she left. The excitement of something new fades when she recognizes that new does not always mean better. She begins to see the flaws in what she chased, the superficiality in what once seemed appealing. She understands that love is not just about the highs, it is about having someone who truly sees her, someone who stood by her when things were difficult. The weight of reality sets in when she realizes that what she thought she wanted does not compare to what she had. The illusion of greener pastures fades, and she is left with the truth what she once walked away from was more valuable than she ever gave it credit for. Loneliness has a way of revealing what the heart truly misses. When a woman walks away, she may initially feel a sense of relief, a belief that she is free to explore life on her own terms. She fills her days with distractions, new experiences, and unfamiliar faces, convincing herself that she is moving forward. But no matter how busy she stays, there comes a moment when the noise fades and she is left alone with her thoughts. It is in that stillness that loneliness begins to settle in. She may find herself reaching for her phone, instinctively wanting to share something with you, only to remember that she no longer has that privilege. The small moments, the way you used to check on her, the late night conversations, the comfort of knowing you were always there start to resurface in her mind. At first, she brushes them off, telling herself it is just a phase, but nostalgia does not fade so easily. As time passes, the memories become more vivid. She remembers the way you made her feel, the warmth of your presence, the way you supported her, even when she was at her worst. She starts to miss the security of knowing she had someone who truly cared. The places you once went together, the inside jokes, the little gestures that seemed small at the time now feel irreplaceable. She realizes that what she thought was ordinary was in fact rare. Loneliness deepens when she begins to see that no one else understands her the way you did. Nostalgia reminds her of what she once had, making her question whether leaving was truly the right choice. The emptiness she feels is not just about being alone, it is about missing someone who made her world feel complete. Time has a way of revealing what truly matters. When a woman walks away, she may believe that distance will erase the emotions she once felt. She may expect that as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, her heart will forget and she will fully move on. But time does not just take away feelings, it tests them. It separates what was temporary from what was real. It brings clarity, not just about the other person, but about herself. At first, she may not notice the weight of her decision, the excitement of change, the distraction of new experiences, and the belief that she made the right choice keep her occupied. But as time stretches on, she begins to see the difference between a passing emotion and a lasting connection. She realizes that the presence she once took for granted is no longer there. The good morning messages, the thoughtful gestures, the way you made her feel, understood these things were not just habits, they were signs of something deeper. She starts to recognize that true connections do not fade with time, they withstand it. The people who were meant to be in her life do not become distant memories. They remain in her thoughts, in her emotions, and in the spaces of her heart she cannot seem to fill. As she encounters new people, she compares them even unconsciously to what she had with you. She notices that while new relationships may offer excitement, they lack the depth and security she once felt. Time tests not only her feelings, but also your presence in her life. If you remain unchanged, she may assume she was right to leave. But if she sees you thriving, growing, and becoming a better version of yourself, she begins to wonder if she underestimated your worth. Guilt has a way of lingering in the heart, reminding a person of what they could have done differently. When a woman realizes that she has hurt someone who truly cared for her, she begins to wrestle with emotions she once ignored. At first, she may try to justify her actions, convincing herself that she did what was necessary. But as time passes, she starts to see the impact of her choices, and the weight of regret becomes harder to ignore. She replays the moments where she could have been more patient, more understanding, or more appreciative. She thinks about the times you stood by her, even when she was at her worst, and she questions whether she truly valued what she had. The realization that she may have pushed away someone who genuinely loved her begins to create a deep need for redemption. She does not want to be remembered as the one who hurt you, as the one who walked away without truly understanding your worth. Redemption is not just about seeking forgiveness. It is about proving to herself that she has grown. She wants to know that she has learned from her mistakes, that she has become someone who can recognize and honor true love when she sees it. She may reach out not because she expects things to go back to the way they were, but because she needs to make peace with the past. She wants to right her wrongs, even if only through an apology or an attempt to reconnect. Her return is not always about rekindling the relationship. Sometimes it is about healing the wounds she left behind. She hopes that in seeking redemption, she can find closure, not just for you, but for herself. A woman may leave believing she is making the right choice, but time, reflection, and experience often lead her back to what she once had. Whether it is regret, nostalgia, or the realization that true love is rare, she returns not just because she misses you, but because she has grown to understand your worth. But the real question is not why she comes back, it is whether you have evolved in her absence. Pain should not leave you broken. It should leave you wiser, stronger, and more focused on your own growth. When she returns, it is no longer just about her choice, it is about yours. Will you allow the past to repeat itself, or will you stand as a man who has built himself beyond the need for validation? Never wait for someone to realize your worth. Live in such a way that your value is never in question. Let people recognize what they lost, but make sure you never lose yourself in the process. Hello everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. There comes a time in every man's life when pain speaks louder than purpose, when the weight of disappointment crushes his spirit, and when the wounds of yesterday make him question the hope of tomorrow. A man who has been broken will not always cry out for help. He will not always explain his struggle. Instead, he will withdraw. He will isolate himself. He will pull away. Not because he does not love, not because he does not care, but because brokenness whispers lies that convince him he is better off alone. A broken man does not see himself as others see him. He does not see the strength in his survival, the power in his endurance, or the beauty in his resilience. He sees failure where others see fight. He sees shame where others see scars that testify of his perseverance. And so he retreats, believing that his wounds make him unworthy of companionship, unworthy of love, unworthy of restoration. But listen to me. Brokenness is not the end of a man. It is not the final chapter. A man can be broken, but he is not beyond repair. A man can pull away, but he is not beyond restoration. The enemy of his soul will tell him that he must fight alone, that he must suffer in silence, that no one will understand. But that is a deception, because healing does not happen in isolation. It happens in connection. Restoration does not come by withdrawing. It comes by reaching out. You see, a man who pulls away is not weak, is in survival mode. But survival is not enough. A man is not designed just to survive, he is designed to thrive. He is built to lead, to love, to build, to create, to protect, and to conquer. And when he finds his purpose again, when he realizes that his brokenness was never meant to define him but to refine him, that is when his comeback begins. If you are that man today, if you are pulling away, if you are hiding in your pain, hear this. You are still needed. You are still valuable. You are still called for something greater. Do not allow your wounds to imprison you. Do not let pain convince you that you are alone. There are people who love you, who will stand with you, who will fight for you, but you must be willing to step back into the light. Healing is not just about time. It is about choice. Choose to fight for your wholeness. Choose to trust again. Choose to believe that your best days are not behind you, but ahead of you, because no man is truly broken if he still has the will to rise. And today, it is your time to rise. Pain has a way of drawing a man into himself, making him believe that solitude is his only refuge. When a man is wounded, whether by disappointment, betrayal, failure, or loss, his first instinct is often to withdraw. He pulls away from the people who care about him, not because he does not value them, but because the weight of his suffering convinces him that facing it alone is the safest option. He begins to build invisible walls, not to shut others out, but to keep himself from further harm. The fear of being misunderstood, judged, or rejected becomes greater than the desire to be healed. In moments of deep pain, even the presence of love can feel overwhelming. Words meant to comfort may feel empty. Gestures of kindness may seem undeserved. And the thought of being vulnerable again appears too great a risk. A broken man does not always recognize that his isolation is not protecting him, but rather deepening his wounds. He believes that if he hides long enough, the pain will pass. But pain that is not processed only grows heavier. The silence he retreats into becomes an echo chamber where his doubts and insecurities are amplified. The more he withdraws, the more disconnected he becomes, not only from others, but also from himself. He starts to lose sight of his own worth, his own strength, and his own purpose. The relationships that once brought him joy feel distant, not because they have changed, but because his pain has altered his perception. He assumes that no one can truly understand what he is facing, so he chooses to suffer in silence. Yet, isolation does not heal wounds. It only numbs them temporarily, delaying the very restoration he desperately needs. When a man experiences deep brokenness, his sense of identity begins to shift. He no longer sees himself through the lens of his true potential, but through the cracks of his pain. The weight of failure, betrayal, rejection, or loss creates a distortion, making him question who he is and whether he is worthy of the life he once believed in. The confidence that once defined him begins to fade, replaced by doubt, insecurity, and fear. He no longer measures himself by his strengths, but by his wounds, convincing himself that his brokenness is his new reality. A man who once walked with assurance may begin to shrink in the presence of others, avoiding conversations, opportunities, and even relationships that once brought him joy. He may tell himself that he is no longer capable, no longer needed, or no longer valuable. The way he thinks, speaks, and carries himself is altered, not because he has truly changed, but because pain has rewritten the story he tells himself about who he is. He stops pursuing the dreams that once fueled him because his brokenness whispers that they are no longer within reach. The danger of a distorted identity is that it traps a man in a false version of himself. Instead of rising from his pain, he settles into it, believing it defines him. He may even push away those who see the strength in him because their words contradict the lies he has come to accept. A man who was once bold becomes hesitant. A man who was once full of vision becomes directionless. And a man who once stood with purpose begins to fade into the background. His brokenness convinces him that he is no longer who he used to be, shaping a version of himself that was never meant to exist. Shame is one of the heaviest burdens a man can carry, and it has a way of stealing his voice. When a man feels ashamed, he does not speak, not because he has nothing to say, but because he believes his words no longer matter. Shame whispers that he is a failure, that he has disappointed those who once believed in him, that he is not worthy of being heard. It convinces him that revealing his struggles will only lead to rejection. So he keeps his pain locked inside, silencing himself in the presence of others. He may sit in a room full of people and say nothing, not because he lacks thoughts, but because he is afraid that if he speaks, his brokenness will be exposed. He may listen to encouragement, but struggle to receive it because shame makes him believe that he does not deserve grace. He begins to withdraw from meaningful conversations, avoids deep connections, and loses the ability to express what he truly feels. Instead of asking for help, he suffers in silence, believing that his pain is his burden to carry alone. Shame does not just affect his words, it affects his actions. He may avoid eye contact, keep his head down, or carry himself with hesitation as if he is apologizing for his existence. He begins to question his own worth, replaying past mistakes and convincing himself that he cannot undo what has been done. The fear of judgment paralyzes him, making him believe that silence is safer than vulnerability. Over time, his silence creates a barrier between him and the world, making it difficult for even those who love him to reach him. He does not realize that his silence is not protecting him, is imprisoning him. When a man has been broken, trust becomes one of the hardest things to rebuild. He no longer sees people the way he once did, and he no longer assumes that love is safe. If he has been betrayed, he questions loyalty. If he has been abandoned, he doubts commitment. If he has been let down, he hesitates to rely on anyone again. His pain teaches him to be cautious, to protect himself, to hold back rather than risk being wounded again. Even when others show him kindness, he wonders if there's a hidden motive. Even when love is sincere, he hesitates to receive it fully. Trust is not just about believing in others. It is about believing that he is safe enough to open his heart. When a man has been broken, his heart tells him that safety no longer exists. He may smile, he may engage in conversations, but deep inside, a wall has been built. He listens carefully to the words people say, looking for inconsistencies. He watches their actions, waiting for a sign that they are like the ones who hurt him. Even in relationships that should bring healing, he wrestles with suspicion, not because he wants to, but because his pain has taught him to be on guard. The difficulty in trusting is that it isolates him even further. The very connection he longs for is the thing he resists the most. He struggles to believe that anyone will stay, so he distances himself before they have a chance to leave. He assumes that disappointment is inevitable, so he stops expecting anything different. He does not realize that his inability to trust is not only keeping others at a distance, but also keeping him from the healing he truly desires. When a man is hurting, his first instinct is often to pull away. He convinces himself that being alone is the best way to process his pain, that withdrawing from others will somehow protect him from further hurt. But what he does not realize is that isolation does not heal. It only deepens the wound. The more he removes himself from meaningful relationships, the more his pain grows in the shadows. Without anyone to challenge his thoughts, he begins to believe the lies his pain tells him, that he is alone, that no one understands, that he is beyond repair. Isolation creates a cycle that is difficult to break. At first, it feels like relief, a way to escape questions, expectations, and the weight of pretending everything is fine. But as the days pass, loneliness settles in, and the silence becomes deafening. His mind replays past mistakes, magnifies his failures, and convinces him that no one truly cares. The very thing he thought would protect him becomes the thing that imprisons him. He begins to lose sight of his value, his purpose, and his ability to rise again. Even when others reach out, he may reject their attempts, not because he does not want connection, but because he has convinced himself that he does not deserve it. He assumes that people will grow tired of him, that they will eventually walk away. So he chooses to pull back before they have a chance. Yet in doing so, he deprives himself of the very thing he needs: support, understanding, and love. He does not realize that wounds left unattended do not heal. They fester. And the longer he isolates himself, the deeper the wound becomes, making it even harder for him to return to the life and relationships he once knew. Time passes, but time alone does not heal. A man who has been broken can sit in his pain for years, believing that if he waits long enough, the wounds will fade on their own. But healing is not just about the passage of time. It is about what is done with that time. Restoration requires intention, a deliberate effort to face the pain, to rebuild what was lost, and to reclaim the identity that brokenness tried to steal. A wound that is ignored does not simply disappear. It deepens, infects, and lingers beneath the surface, affecting everything in its path. True healing requires restoration, and restoration is an active process. It demands that a man confront his pain rather than suppress it, that he seeks wisdom rather than isolation, and that he allows himself to be vulnerable in the presence of those who can help. It is not enough to wait and hope that time will erase the hurt. Restoration requires acknowledging what was lost, understanding what was broken, and taking steps to rebuild. This may mean having difficult conversations, facing uncomfortable truths, forgiving those who have caused harm, and even forgiving oneself. Restoration is also about reclaiming purpose. When a man is broken, he often loses sight of who he is and what he was created for. He stops dreaming, stops believing, and stops moving forward. Healing is not just about closing a wound. It is about rediscovering the strength, vision, and passion that were buried beneath the pain. It is about allowing himself to trust again, to love again, and to believe that his story is not over. Without restoration, healing remains incomplete. It is not just about the passing of time. It is about what is rebuilt in that time. When a man is broken, he often loses his sense of purpose. The things that once gave him direction and meaning seem distant, and the motivation that once fueled him begins to fade. He no longer sees the value in his work, his relationships, or even himself. Without purpose, he drifts, disconnected from the world around him, unsure of where he belongs. He may try to fill the void with distractions, but nothing truly satisfies, because deep inside, he's not just searching for relief, he's searching for meaning. A man who lacks purpose struggles to connect, not because he does not want to, but because he does not know how. He may sit among friends yet feel like a stranger, surrounded by people yet still alone. He may hear words of encouragement but struggle to believe them, because his heart is still weighed down by the question, why does any of this matter? Without purpose, he sees no reason to engage, to trust, or to hope. His brokenness convinces him that he is no longer useful, that his role in life has diminished, and that the best thing to do is withdraw. But when a man rediscovers his purpose, everything begins to change. Purpose gives him a reason to rise in the morning, a reason to push through the pain, a reason to fight for something greater than his suffering. It reminds him that his story is not over, that his life still has meaning, and that he is still needed. Purpose reconnects him to people because it shifts his focus from what he has lost to what he can still build. When a man finds purpose, he finds himself again. And in doing so, he finds the strength to reconnect with the world he once pulled away from. A broken man is not a finished man. His wounds may have made him pull away. His pain may have silenced him, and his trust may have been shattered. But his story does not have to end in isolation. Healing is not found in withdrawing. It is found in confronting, in restoring, and in rediscovering purpose. The lies of brokenness will tell him that he is beyond repair. But the truth is this: no man is too lost to be found, too hurt to be healed, or too broken to be rebuilt. Pain was never meant to define him, it was meant to refine him. The scars he carries are not signs of defeat, but evidence of survival. But survival is not enough. He was created to thrive. He was made to stand, to lead, to love, to rebuild. No matter how far he has drifted, no matter how deep the wounds may be, there is still a way back. The key is not in waiting for time to heal him, but in choosing to fight for his restoration. The world still needs him. His voice still matters. His presence still has meaning. But he must make the decision to step out of the shadows, to trust again, to reconnect, and to believe that his best days are still ahead of him. A broken man is not a lost cause, he is a comeback waiting to happen. The moment he chooses to rise is the moment his healing begins. Hello everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds the human heart can endure. It is a pain that shakes your soul, leaving you wondering how someone you trusted could turn against you. But I have come to tell you today that betrayal is not the end, it is a divine setup for something greater. When people betray you, they think they have won. They believe they have destroyed you. But what they do not know is that God has already seen it. He was there when they plotted behind your back. He was there when they smiled in your face, but spoke against you in secret. He saw it all. And He is not a passive God. He is a God of justice. Do not waste your energy trying to get even. Do not let the poison of revenge enter your heart. Vengeance is not your responsibility. It belongs to the Lord. And when God fights for you, He does not just repay, He restores. He does not just expose your enemies, He elevates you above them. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, and sold like a slave. But God had already planned his rise to power. The very ones who betrayed him had to come back and bow before him. That is what divine justice looks like. When you remain faithful, God will turn every betrayal into a promotion. Some of you have been hurt deeply. You trusted, and they broke that trust. You helped them, and they turned against you. You loved them, and they repaid you with dishonor. But hear me today, God is not finished with your story. He will make your enemies your footstool. He will set a table before you in the presence of those who try to destroy you. They will have no choice but to watch as He lifts you up. And do not let bitterness take root in your heart. Do not let betrayal make you cynical. Release them. Forgive them. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. The more you hold on to the pain, the longer you delay your breakthrough. Let it go and watch God work. The time of divine justice is near. What was meant for evil, God is turning for your good. The storm that was sent to break you will be the wind that pushes you into destiny. Stand firm, stay faithful, and trust that the God who saw the betrayal will also bring the justice. Your best days are still ahead. Betrayal cuts deep, but it is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal you. It is a test, not a defeat. When someone betrays you, it is not about what they did, it is about how you respond. Every betrayal is an opportunity to grow, to mature, and to develop a deeper trust in God. The pain you feel is real, but it is not final. It is only a chapter, not the whole book. Betrayal does not define you. It refines you. It exposes the true character of those around you and sharpens your discernment. Sometimes God allows betrayal to remove people who cannot go with you to the next level. He lets their true nature be revealed so that you do not build your future on unstable foundations. If Judas had not betrayed Jesus, the cross would not have happened, and salvation would not have been fulfilled. Even the worst betrayal can be used to accomplish a divine purpose. When betrayal comes, it forces you to examine your own heart. It tests your faith, your patience, and your ability to trust God in the midst of pain. Will you allow bitterness to take root? Or will you let God use it to elevate you? Will you hold on to anger? Or will you let go and grow? The way you handle betrayal determines whether it will break you or build you. Some of the greatest promotions in life come after the greatest betrayals. Joseph's own brothers sold him into slavery, thinking they were destroying his destiny, but they were unknowingly pushing him into position for the palace. Every pit, every false accusation, and every disappointment was part of a divine process that led him to purpose. The betrayal was painful, but it was not the end. It was the beginning of something greater. God does not allow betrayal to defeat you. He allows it to develop you. He knows what is ahead, and He knows that not everyone around you is meant to stay. Some betrayals are necessary because they separate you from those who would hinder your growth. Others are tests to see if you will still trust God even when people fail you. When betrayal happens, do not see it as a sign that you have lost. See it as proof that you are being prepared. See it as confirmation that something greater is coming. Those who betrayed you may think they have ended your journey, but they have only pushed you into your destiny. The test is not in what they did, the test is in how you choose to respond. Nothing escapes the eyes of God. He sees every action, every motive, every hidden conversation, and every secret betrayal. When people wrong you in the dark, thinking no one will ever know, God is already aware. When they smile in your face but plot against you behind closed doors, He sees it all. He is not a blind or indifferent God. He is a God of justice, watching every detail unfold. There is no scheme, no deception, no lie that can hide from His presence. When you feel like no one understands your pain, when you wonder if anyone truly knows what you have been through, God does. He has seen the tears you cried when no one was looking. He has heard the prayers you whispered in frustration. He has witnessed every unfair situation, every betrayal, every unjust attack. People may think they have gotten away with it, but God has already recorded it. When Hagar was cast out into the wilderness feeling abandoned and forgotten, God appeared to her and revealed Himself as El Roi, the God who sees. He saw her distress, her pain, her rejection, and He responded. The same God who saw her sees you. He sees how you were mistreated. He sees how they took advantage of your kindness. He sees how they turned their backs on you when you needed them most. And because He sees, He will act. God is not a passive observer. He is an active judge. The same God who saw Joseph's brothers betray him was the same God who raised him up. The same God who saw David's enemies plot against him was the same God who secured his throne. He is never blind to injustice, and He is never late in delivering His justice. It may seem like nothing is happening, like the wicked are prospering, like those who betrayed you are moving forward while you are left with the pain, but do not be deceived. God is not mocked. He has a perfect time for everything. There are moments when you may feel like speaking up, defending yourself, or proving the truth. But you do not have to fight battles that God has already seen. He will expose every lie, uncover every deception, and bring the truth to light in ways you never expected. He does not just see what was done, He sees what is to come. He knows how to turn your pain into purpose, your sorrow into strength, and your betrayal into a blessing. Those who wronged you may think no one is watching, but the one who matters most has seen everything. When people betray you, your natural instinct is to fight back, to make them feel the pain they caused you, to expose them, to make them regret what they did. But vengeance is not your responsibility. It is not your burden to carry. The moment you take justice into your own hands, you step out of alignment with God's plan. The moment you try to repay evil with evil, you lower yourself to the level of those who wronged you. God has made it clear, vengeance belongs to Him alone. He is the only one who can judge righteously. He sees what you cannot see. He knows the hearts of those who betrayed you. He knows the hidden conversations, the secret intentions, the lies that were spoken when you were not in the room. And because He sees it all, He is the only one qualified to execute true justice. What He does will be far greater than anything you could ever do on your own. When you try to take revenge, you limit what God can do. Your actions are bound by human emotions, by the pain you feel in the moment. But God is not controlled by emotions. He is guided by truth. His justice is perfect, and His timing is flawless. Sometimes it may seem like those who betrayed you are getting away with it. It may seem like their lives are moving forward while you are left suffering. But do not be deceived. Just because judgment has not come yet does not mean it is not coming. God does not forget. He does not overlook injustice. He does not let the wicked prosper forever. He has already set a time for their reckoning. You may not see it immediately, but He's already working behind the scenes. Sometimes His vengeance is not just about punishing your enemy sin, it's about elevating you. Instead of striking them down, He raises you up. Instead of bringing them low, He takes you higher. He prepares a table for you in the presence of those who sought to destroy you. He makes them watch as He blesses you beyond their expectations. When Joseph's brothers betrayed him, he did not seek revenge. He trusted God. And in the end, he did not have to fight them. God did. They had to come back to Him, humble, in need of His help. When David was pursued by Saul, he had opportunities to take revenge, but he refused. He knew that when God delivers justice, it is greater than anything man can do. The same is true for you. Let go of the desire to repay evil with evil. Leave it in God's hands. His vengeance is not just about making things right. It is about proving that no one can touch a child of God and go unpunished. Pain is temporary, but destiny is eternal. What you are going through right now is not the end of your story. It is just a chapter in a much greater plan. The betrayal, the rejection, the disappointment, none of it has the power to cancel what God has ordained for your life. The enemy wants you to believe that your pain is proof that you are finished, but in reality, it is proof that you are being positioned for something greater. Every great destiny comes with great opposition. And the attacks against you are not about who you are now, they are about who you are becoming. God never allows pain without purpose. He does not waste suffering. What you have endured is not meaningless. It is preparing you for the next level. Joseph's betrayal was not the end, it was the beginning of his promotion. Had his brothers never sold him into slavery, he would have never made it to Egypt. Had he never been falsely accused, he would have never stepped into Pharaoh's palace. The very things that seemed to break him were actually the things that built him for his destiny. The same is true for you. What feels like destruction is often construction. God is using your pain to lay the foundation for something far greater than you can see right now. The enemy's greatest mistake was thinking that your pain would stop you. He thought if he could make you suffer enough, you would give up, walk away, or lose your faith. But what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for good. The pressure you feel is not a sign that you are defeated. It is a sign that you are close to breakthrough. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. and strong warriors are shaped in battle. What you are facing is not to break you, it is to prepare you for the weight of the blessing that is coming. You cannot afford to let pain define you. You cannot allow betrayal to make you bitter or rejection to make you insecure. Your destiny is too great to be held back by temporary wounds. If you allow pain to become your focus, you will miss the purpose behind it. If you hold on to what was lost, you will not have room for what is coming. Let go of the past, not because it did not hurt, but because it cannot hold you anymore. Your future is calling, and it is far greater than anything you have endured. Every time God allows pain, He provides restoration. The story does not end in suffering, it ends in victory. The same hands that were wounded will be the hands that carry blessings. The same heart that was broken will experience a greater love. The same life that was torn apart will be put back together in a way that reveals God's glory. Nothing you have endured will be wasted. The greater the pain, the greater the destiny. Keep moving forward, because what is ahead of you is worth far more than what is behind you. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful choices you can make. The world sees it as weakness, as if letting go means you are allowing people to get away with what they did. But true strength is found in the ability to release the offense and trust that God will handle justice. It takes no strength to hold a grudge. Bitterness is easy. Resentment comes naturally. But forgiveness requires maturity, faith, and the courage to rise above the hurt. It is not about excusing what was done to you. It is about refusing to let it control your future. Holding on to unforgiveness is like carrying a heavy weight while trying to run a race. The more you hold on, the slower you become. You are not punishing those who wronged you, you are punishing yourself. While they continue with their lives, you remain trapped in the pain of the past. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about your freedom. It is about removing the chains that keep you bound to what they did. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. You tell your past that it no longer has permission to dictate your future. Jesus, hanging on the cross, had every right to call for judgment. He was betrayed, abandoned, and crucified by the very people He came to save. Yet His words were, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." That is power. He understood that His purpose was greater than His pain, and His destiny was not tied to those who wronged Him. When you forgive, you step into that same power. You declare that no betrayal, no rejection, no hurt has the ability to stop the plan of God for your life. Forgiveness does not mean you forget. It does not mean you allow the same people to hurt you again. It means you release the anger, the desire for revenge, and the burden of proving yourself right. It means you let go so you can move forward. Joseph forgave his brothers not because they deserved it, but because he understood that their betrayal was part of a greater plan. He could have let bitterness consume him, but instead, he used his pain as preparation. He chose purpose over resentment, and as a result, he walked into his destiny. When you forgive, you break the cycle of pain. You refuse to let the actions of others define your heart. You choose healing over hatred. You choose to trust that God will deal with those who hurt you in His perfect way. And when you walk in forgiveness, you open the door for God's restoration. He will heal what was broken, return what was stolen, and lift you higher than before. The power is not in holding on, it is in letting go. God never allows you to go through suffering without a plan for restoration. What was taken from you, what was broken, what was lost, He will restore it. And not in secret, but in a way that everyone will see. The pain you endured was not hidden. The betrayal was not private. The humiliation was witnessed by many, and so will be your restoration. When God lifts you up, He does it in a way that silences every voice that spoke against you. The same people who saw you in your lowest moments will witness what God does in your life. Restoration is not just about replacing what was lost. It is about multiplying it. Job lost everything, but when God restored him, he gave him twice as much as before. Joseph was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and imprisoned unfairly. But when restoration came, he did not just regain his freedom, was placed in a position of power over an entire nation. When God restores, he does not bring you back to where you were. He takes you further than you ever imagined. God does not just work behind the scenes. He prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemies. He makes sure those who spoke against you, those who betrayed you, and those who thought they had destroyed you, see that they never had the final say. He turns their doubt into awe, their mockery into silence, and their betrayal into a testimony of his power. What was meant for your downfall becomes the evidence of his faithfulness. When restoration comes, it does not come in the way people expect. It comes in ways that make it clear that only God could have done it. No connection, no effort, no strategy of man could accomplish what he does. The opportunities, the breakthroughs, the favor, the healing, it all happens in a way that leaves no room for doubt. People will look at your life and say, only God could have done this. Public restoration is about more than just personal victory. It is a testimony to others that God is faithful, that he sees, that he repays, and that he elevates those who remain faithful. Your story will inspire others who are still in their season of pain. They will see what God has done for you and believe that he can do the same for them. Every tear you cried, every moment of suffering, every season of loss was not in vain. The restoration will be greater than the pain. And when it happens, no one will be able to deny that God was with you all along. God does not just restore you in private, he makes sure your enemies see it. Those who plotted against you, those who doubted you, those who thought they had buried you, will have no choice but to watch as he elevates you. What they meant for harm, God turns into the very thing that lifts you higher. The people who spoke against you, who tried to destroy your reputation, who abandoned you when you needed them the most, will witness firsthand that their actions did not stop God's plan for your life. When David said, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies," he was not speaking of a quiet victory. He was declaring that God does not just bless his people, he does it in such a way that those who oppose them have to acknowledge it. This is not about revenge, it is about divine justice. It is about God proving that no weapon formed against you can prosper. It is about him showing that no betrayal, no rejection, no attack can cancel what he has already spoken over your life. Joseph's brothers threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, and thought they had erased his future. But they were forced to stand before him years later, not as their equal, but as the ruler of Egypt. The same brothers who conspired against him had to come to him for help. They had to bow before the very person they tried to destroy. God's promotion does not just lift you up, it shifts the positions of those who try to hold you down. He does not just restore, he reverses the situation entirely. When God decides to promote you, nothing can stop it. No lie, no betrayal, no injustice can delay what he has already ordained. The same people who dismissed you, who overlooked you, who thought you were insignificant, will be the ones to witness what God does in your life. They will have to watch as he places you in a position they never expected you to reach. This is why you do not need to fight for yourself. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. God's plan is bigger than their opinions. He will defend you, he will establish you, and he will make sure the promotion is undeniable. The very ones who laughed at you, doubted you, and tried to block you will have no choice but to acknowledge that God's hand was on you all along. What they thought was your downfall was actually your setup. The same mouths that spoke against you will have to testify of what God has done. They will see it, and they will know that only God could have taken you this far. Betrayal is painful, but it is not the end of your story. It is merely a test a refining fire that prepares you for something greater. God sees everything, and He will not let injustice go unanswered. The pain you endured, the rejection you faced, and the attacks that came against you were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to position you. You do not need to fight for yourself, because the battle is not yours. It belongs to the Lord. His justice is perfect. His timing is precise, and His restoration is beyond anything you could imagine. Those who thought they had buried you will watch as God lifts you higher than they ever expected. The very ones who doubted you will see His favor on your life. He will prepare a table for you in their presence, and they will witness your promotion with their own eyes. Your destiny is greater than your pain, and your future is brighter than your past. Do not let bitterness hold you back. Do not let revenge consume you. Walk in forgiveness, trust in God's justice, and watch how He turns every betrayal into a stepping stone for your elevation. What was meant to break you will build you. What was meant to harm you will bless you. And when God restores you, it will not be in secret, it will be public, undeniable, and a testimony of His unfailing faithfulness. Stay faithful, keep moving forward, and trust that He will finish what He started in your life.